challenges here. Sunshine most of the way, and we hope. You used to go to the Sun Dome. Now it's the Yingling Center. The Tigers are 7.5-point favorites to win here, but you never know. Like, look at last night. Guess who came back for Temple? Jamal Mashburn. Guess who lost? Temple. By losing to a Tulsa team at home. You never know for sure. And this is great news. P.J. Haggerty made the Wooden Final 20 for Player of the Year nationally. Of course, the favorites are probably Janai Broom and Cooper Flagg. But just to be in the top 20, that is really good news for P.J. Haggerty. Hopefully he has a good game. No definitive word yet on Tyrese Hunter, on whether he'll be able to play tonight. But the trends, as I have heard from insiders, is upward, that he probably will be able to play. The Grizz playing a back-to-back in L.A. look kind of tired, and they lose to the Clippers 128-114. We will have Pete Pranica on, and I'll get into this in just a minute. But finally, I got to give a hearty congratulations to Papa Ryan Silverfield. Mom and Dad had twins yesterday, and Brian Takis, I think it's two girls. Like, I got a 1 in 3 chance of that, right?
I mean, it's your chances are pretty
good.
Could be
twin girls, could be twin boys, could be mixed.
That's right.
A boy and girl. But I don't know why, but I think it's twin girls. I know life will never be the same for Ryan.
No.
He has always had numerous dogs in his life, but now he's got 2 young ones, a new home. Congratulations to the Silverfields, and it's a new adventure for the coach. All right, last night in L.A., the Grizz led 39-28 after the first quarter. But then I think they got tired because they had played in Phoenix the night before, and it was pretty much the Clippers the rest of the way. Kawhi Leonard had a season-high 34 minutes played, 25 points. James Harden and Norman Powell each had 18. The Grizz playing with no Ja. This time they said knee. So they've used knee, they've used ankle, they've used shoulder. He's had numerous things. I just think they don't want to play him back-to-back. And that obviously hurts. I guess they feel they can lose games along the way, although Denver is creeping up. They're a half a game out now. They've surpassed Houston. Dane was terrific, particularly in the first quarter. He had 16 of his 23 in the first. Jalen Wells, the great story that he is 18. G.G. Jackson, 15. No Vince Williams, by the way. They don't want to play him. He's got minutes restrictions, so they're not playing him back-to-back. Aldama had 14. Triple J had 13, sort of an off night for him. What did the Grizzlies in was 22 turnovers. And the Clippers, who had, by the way, 17 steals in that, they got 41 points off those turnovers. That might be the difference in the ball game. So they are off now for the All-Star game. Then, when they come back, I think it's on the 20th, the Grizzlies have to play 3 games in 4 days, all still on the road. They don't come back to FedEx Forum until February the 25th. That's 2 weeks away from home. They get a whole week off now for the All-Star break. I think the Players Union requested that. Adam Silver relented. Brian Takis, do you think a week off from your product? Now, granted, you've got 2 or 3 days of All-Star activity, so it's really not that long. It's like 4 days where there's nothing. Do you think that hurts any of keeping the interest up for the NBA in this time? But there's really no football. There is college basketball. Do you think that hurts the product in any way?
Maybe a little. I don't think it hurts it much, really at all. Give these guys a break because, like you said, I mean, there's really nothing really on right now, and so when it comes back, everybody's going to know it's back on. It's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be on TNT. And you're right. We're going to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday full of all-star festivities. So it's really those first 3 days of next week that we won't have anything. So I don't think it's too bad.
Hey, I think we're nitpicking here. I do. And it's a tough season. It's really going to be rough for the Grizz. 3 games, 4 days on the road after they've been gone already for 2 road games. Tough stretch for the Grizzlies. Last night, by the way, the Mavs, did you see what they did at Golden State without AD, without 2 other bigs?
Yeah, that was a
You
fun
know
game.
that they started a 6'7" two-way player named Kessler Edwards at center, and because Kyrie Irving had 42, they beat Golden State?
Yep. Yeah, Kyrie was awesome last night.
Gosh, he was. Man. And I guess he's going to have to play like that a lot, at least until Anthony Davis gets back. Do we know how long that abdominal issue is going to take to heal?
No, I've heard, if it's the Grizzlies, I know the Grizzlies like to use week to week. It sounds like that's kind of what Anthony Davis is. It sounds like it's going to be a couple weeks.
Wow, they were talking about, jettisoning Luka because he was always injured, and yeah, I hate to say it, but AD's sort of in the same way. Such a great player, but he misses a lot of games. All right, real quick before we bring in our good friend Pete Pranica, who's got to be tired, because I know they were playing late last night. I'm assuming the team plane came home, but we'll find out momentarily. Let's just look at what's going to happen tonight here, because this is the last chance for the Memphis Tigers to make a statement for the very first reveal from the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee, because I think it's Saturday, before the Tigers play against Wichita on Sunday, that the committee does their very first public reveal of their top 4 seeds in each region. So the top 16 reveal is Saturday. Memphis, obviously, 14th in the country. And in some bracketologists, they're a 4 seed. That would be 16, right? So they would be in that first reveal. I know by Lenardi, or by Palm, they would be. I think Lenardi had him slip to a 5.
That's
so
right.
Here's your chance to make a sort of a statement to that committee. USF's a 194 net, so that means they're a quad 3 team when the Tigers play. You can't lose that game. You just cannot lose that game. And if you're looking for interesting matchups, they got a really good center who has played at a lot of different schools. I didn't realize it. I looked at it. Jameel Reynolds is his name. You probably heard of him before because he's played at Cincinnati when they were a part of the American. He's played at UCF when they were a part of the American. He's played at Temple, which is still a part of the American, and now he's playing at USF. He's well-traveled. He's a pretty good player. Watching him in danger will be key. Threes will be key. The Tigers have the number 1 3 shooting percentage in the country, and I believe USF is top 50 at 3% field goal defense. So that would be kind of fun to watch. Tigers should dominate the boards. Other than Reynolds, USF's really small. That will be a fun game, and that's late. That's 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. We've moved the Family Leisure Studios to the southeast. Obviously, it's in Tampa, but at I-40 and Wooden Road. That's where the preseason pool and patio sale is still going strong. You got to get to I-40 and Wooden Road, walk in there, tell them we sent you, because if you mention Sports 56, you can even say Wolo, I think you'd get away with it. You get a $250 gift card on any pool or patio that's part of this particular sale. And we're talking like $3,000 off spas. You're talking 50, 60, 70% off of pools. as they try to move that stuff out. Plus the $250 if you mention us. My goodness, what a deal. And you want to be on the installation list, so you're the first one, if you buy a pool, to get it installed so you can start your summer right away. The preseason spring pool and patio sale going on right now at Family Leisure. Pete Pranica, are you awake after a long night last night? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, thank goodness there's an espresso machine in the hotel room, so that's good. Good, we got that going.
So you did not fly home last night then?
No. The charter for those people that are going back to Memphis, it's leaving later this morning. So yeah, the whole team stayed over, and some people are going to San Francisco, some people are flying back to Memphis, and some people are going to whatever their break destination is.
Right. Can you share with us your break destinations? Because it sounds like you're not going back to Memphis.
Not just yet. No. I'm going to spend some time here in Southern California, stare at the ocean, drink some wine, just unwind, relax, recharge.
That's a good deal for you. It's a good deal for the league. We were just sitting here debating now, and I think they actually asked the players, or the players union addressed the league and said, look, we would like it to be a full week off for those that are not involved in the All-Star game. And I contemplated, is that a good thing for continuity of the league and to keep it in everybody's minds, or do they really need that break midway because they've played more than half the games? Where do you think that sort of sits? Do the players need to recharge? Do the broadcasters need to recharge?
Well, I think everybody needs to recharge. We call this time of year the dog days because you're traveling. It's cold in most places. If you're traveling to the Northeast, you could be dealing with weather. It does get a grind. I mean, I don't. Whether or not you're flying charter and staying in 5-star hotels, it's still travel and it still wears on your body. I think the greater thing was that guys like LeBron James would say, well, there is no All-Star break. If you're an All-Star, and with the expansion of all the different events that they have going on, you basically were, playing on a Wednesday night, you were flying to the All-Star site, and then you were, on the clock for media and other events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you're playing a game on Tuesday. There is no break. So there was a downside to being an All-Star and being involved in All-Star weekend because you didn't get any type of a break. So I think it's fine. I think it's good. Guys come back fresher. And then you realize, too, that the way the All-Star break falls on the calendars, we played 54 games. Only 28
right.
more left. So, I think it gives the guys an opportunity to recharge for the stretch run. I'm certainly happy with it because, it just gives you some time that you can really get away and unwind.
The schedulers are not kind to the Grizzlies either. I mean, you play 2 road games back-to-back, Phoenix, L.A., then you're off for the week, then you come back, and you've got 3 road games, 4 days, all the way from FedEx Forum. I mean, you're not back till the 25th of the month to play a home game. That's tough.
Yeah, it is. The Clippers have it even worse. I think they have a run of like 9 straight road games. They're not home until March 5th, to give you an idea of how crazy sometimes the schedule goes. Yeah, everybody has their horror stories. We talk to our colleagues around the league. They'll tell us about their bad stretches, and we'll tell them about our bad stretches. And it's just the way that it works. And I know I think a lot of people around the league preferred when the schedule was done by hand as opposed to computer. But computer age is where we are, and that's how the schedule is set. And you play them as they show up.
Last night, do you think after the first quarter, just the fatigue of the back-to-back in this trip got to the Grizzlies? I know Leonard was terrific. He played season-high 34 minutes and had 25, and it's always tough dealing with Harden and Paul. But what happened last night, particularly second half?
I think it was just kind of running out of gas. There was good adrenaline because you come from 9 down and you take a 12-point lead, and Dez is making every shot and has a 16-point first quarter, and then after that, you get a little stale. And if you don't move the ball, and if you don't move yourselves against a team that is as good defensively as the Clippers are, you're in trouble. And then the Grizzlies, because they had a good start from 3, They started shooting maybe a few more threes. For some reason, the Grizzlies haven't done well in the paint against the Clippers in the two games. So I think it was a little bit of fatigue, and also you were short bodies. You know, you're on a back-to-back. There's no shoot around. There's obviously some truncated game preparation. You know, in the run-up to the game anyway. And then you find out that John Morant has a sore knee and he can't play. And you know, Vince Williams, I think they're trying to bring him along slowly, so not playing him on the second of a back-to-back. So you're short a couple of bodies, and I think it just all kind of caught up with the Grizzlies, and you caught a Clippers team that played very well.
I kind of thought the Ja thing was also precautionary, and let's just let him have a really good rest, and we're not going to play him in back-to-backs.
Yeah, that might have been it. You know, there wasn't really anything other than, you know, he's questionable, listed as questionable with a sore knee, and then, you know, we found out before the game that he wouldn't play. So, yeah, it could be a situation of giving him, you know, an extra night of rest, getting ready for those final 28.
Yeah, and let's go to that for a second. How do you think these rotations will work? What will the depth of that bench be for Taylor Jenkins at full strength for those final 28 leading up into the playoffs?
I think Taylor's going to lean into a 10-man rotation, maybe 11 at the max. I think part of the reason that, you know, we're seeing the turnover numbers as high as they are is because you are trying to figure out combinations, and you know you're going to have to set some type of consistency and settle in with, okay, you know, and we've kind of seen it now that you'll get you know, Aldama and Clark into the game midway through the first quarter. You know, you're starting to see the beginnings of a regular substitution pattern, but how it goes later in the game is going to be an adjustment. You know, we saw Vince Williams late in the game, and he was big late in the game in Phoenix. So, you know, Taylor likes to gather data. And right now, when you think about G.G. Jackson and Vince Williams Jr., you have a very small sample size. So I'm sure they're going to crunch numbers and take a look at the combinations, but I think they're going to have to settle into 10, maybe 11 max, because you just can't give playing time to everybody. Guys are going to get cut. You know, John Conchar is going to be probably out of the rotation. Jay Huff has been out of the rotation. They're going to have to tighten it up a little bit as they go down the stretch.
I'm guessing. You know, you're gonna obviously keep giving more and more time to Gigi because he seems to be emerging. Williams, as you just said, in at crunch time the other day. Brandon Clark's been playing well. These are good dilemmas to have. Pippen's going to be your backup point guard, right? So other than the starter, and we know the big three are always going to be in at the end, and that's Bane, that's Ja, that's Triple J. And Triple J, he probably needs some rest, although he's not going to get as much because he's in the All-Star game because he did not have, the usual kind of numbers that he has produced this season.
Yeah, I thought the last couple of games he might have worn down a little bit. He had the 3 games of 30-plus, and then the last 2 have been a little bit more of a struggle for him. But, you know, we talked about this on the telecast last night. Here's a guy who missed all of training camp with a hamstring issue, didn't play in the preseason, missed the first 2 of the regular season, has not missed a game since. You know, so he's your leading scorer. He's also your leader in more than just points. And I mean, like I said, you get 54 in, and everybody associated with the team is worn down a little bit. And but I'm sure Jaren will catch a second win, and he'll enjoy the spotlight in San Francisco. And I think he'll have a big second half.
Do you think they will go through him more with Ja still there than maybe they have in the past?
I would think so. I mean, his usage rate needs to be high. He's been super efficient in shorter minutes. So, you're definitely going to have to work through him. What I like about Jaren, he's been more aggressive going to the rim. We talked about it last night. You know, that area between the dotted line and the top of the restricted area, that's really his sweet spot. And can you get him in space there where he can do that little half hook push shot in the lane? That's going to be the ideal setup for the Grizzlies. Mix that in with a few post-ups, but yeah, you're really going to have to. It's going to be feed 13 instead of feed 50.
Yeah, you mentioned the all-star activities and all that's going on. There's a new format. There's 3 teams, and then there's the up-and-comers or the risers or whatever they're called. Could you go over the format with us, and do you think this will be a more competitive game than the last couple we've seen where they're taking shots from half court and playing no defense?
Yeah, I haven't really dived much into All-Star Weekend because I'm not going to be there. But they keep tinkering with it, and whatever they can do to make it more competitive, because the last few All-Star games really have been, I hate to say this as someone who's affiliated with the league, but it's not been a fun watch. And you'd like to see if there could be something at stake, that guys really want to compete, whether that's money or draft picks or whatever. But you've got to get guys that want to compete. And I know that they want to have fun too. But at the end of the day, the purpose of an all-star game is to see the very best play against the very best and to do it with high competitive effort. So, if a format with the 4 teams and playing games to 40, if that works, great. Anything's better than I think what we've seen the last couple of years.
Well, I give them credit. They have tried to make this better. There's no doubt that Adam Silver understands he's got a problem here, because this has become truly just a shooting contest. And so I give him credit for that. Somebody said they would recommend, you got a regular offensive MVP, right? Come up with a equal award and maybe put cash on it for a defensive player of the game award, and that might change the fortunes of the thing.
Could be. I've favored, now, of course, you've got a numbers issue, but we have so many international players. I really like kind of the Ryder Cup thing, U.S. against the world. And I think that would be, too. For bragging rights, you're playing for your country. I think that'd be kind of cool. And certainly we have enough international players. I don't know what the All-Star count is for internationals, but, that would be something where, hey, it's U.S. versus the world. That might have a little more juice to it.
All right, last thing. As you said, down the stretch we come, 28 games to go. Cleveland way ahead in the East. Oak City way ahead of the Grizz and everybody else in the West. Is that going to be the finals, or will playoff basketball be different? Well,
I think the Thunder would have to be favorites to get to the finals simply because their defense is so good. They got a taste of the playoffs last year, so it's a very, very young team. I think one of the 3 youngest in the NBA. If they stay healthy, and particularly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, without him, they would be in real trouble. I think that they would certainly be the favorites to come out of the West. Houston obviously has a chance as well. They haven't had the experience of earning their playoff scars, so that might work against them. Denver has been making a move up as well. The Lakers have played very good basketball as of late, but I still think that, it's really, really hard when you look at the numbers. It's hard to bet against Oklahoma City and Cleveland. Now, New York is going to have an awful lot to say about who comes out of the East, because that's another team that is very, very well coached, very good defense. They'll be coming to FedEx Forum when the Grizzlies come back from their homestand, and that's going to be a major test for the Grizzlies. So I like Knicks in Cleveland in the West. Oklahoma City clearly a favorite, but you never count out a team that has Nikola Jokic on it. I think those are the teams that we're looking at.
All right, my friend, enjoy your time off. I hope you will join us next Thursday, but you get some deserved rest, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Wolo.
That's Pete Pranica, the TV voice of the Grizz. We take a break. When we come back, we head down to Baton Rouge. Greg Sankey made some interesting thoughts on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier. Maybe it was late last week or earlier this week. And I want to pick Ron Hagan's brain about all that. Plus, we'll talk some SEC hoops. That comes your way in just a minute.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Golfing Games Driving Range is a good place to be. At Putt Putt Driving Range, $10 gets you a small bucket of balls, use of the chain and putting greens, and total tracing. Even senior rates available. Putt Putt Golfing Games Driving Range. 54 Summer Avenue. Putt Putt Driving Range. 901-386-2993. Putt Putt Driving Range. It's Putt Putt time.
I'm Sean Sewer with XMC Technologies, your local source for the best in office technology for over 30 years. We believe that being a technology partner means meeting our clients' needs as they change over time. That's why I'm happy to share that we are now Visual Edge IT. As cyber attacks continue to be a growing threat, our customers are asking for more cybersecurity and ransomware protection. For more information on how to protect your office, visit us at visualedgeit.com or call us locally 901-737-8910.
Sports and Mexican food. You can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games and all the TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand.
Happy Valentine's Day from Gould's, where love is in the air and so is a sweet deal. Buy $200 or more in Gould's gift cards and get 15% off. Treat your Valentine or Valentines to a little pampering, relaxation, and style from Gould's. This Valentine's special offer is available online and in store in Gould's February 7th through the 14th. Just go to GouldSalonSpa.com and use code LOVE25 to purchase online. Gould's Salon Spa, running red since 1932.
We welcome you back. I'm in Tampa, Florida, getting ready for the Tigers and the Bulls tonight at the Yuengling Center. But we're heading on down to Baton Rouge. Our SEC historian is Ron Higgins. And, you know, there's an old saying, you can't be a sissy if you're going to grow old. My man Higgins is growing old. Double hip surgery tomorrow. I don't know. How do you rehab from double hip surgery? Obviously, good luck and good morning. How are you?
Good. I think he rehabbed like the old Tim Conway character, the old man character. He shuffles. I think that's gonna be my pace. No, it's just got so painful. Both hips. My orthopedist took a look at the X-rays and said, "You get the worst hips I've ever seen. It's bone on bone. You need both replaced." So I decided for Valentine's Day, and said I like candy. So I decided, well, hey, why not have a double hip replacement on Valentine's Day? How about that?
Man, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody getting them both done, so they must have been bad. And I'm just thinking, maybe that's been your problem on the golf course all these years.
Oh, I mean, I can tell you how. I mean, I have no hip rotation. I'm stiff no matter how much I stretch.
Right.
I just don't rotate at all. You know. Maybe this will cut down my stroke some. That'll help. But just more than anything, just to, yeah.
Once you get those hips moving, baby, you're going to be you'll have a lot more distance. You're going to love it. All right, let's get down to business. Greg Sankey on the Paul Feinbaum show, I think it was earlier this week, basically made the comment, we got to change the format on first-round buys, which I kind of buy. I don't think it was set up properly. It's set up for bad first-round games, so I agree with the commissioner there. But I'm not sure I like the way he wants to do it, because I think he's angling to try to get 2, 3, maybe 4 SEC teams, all buys in the first round. That doesn't seem right for me either. What's the compromise here? What's the best way to change the college football playoff format?
I don't mind more buys, but I think this should be. I mean, I don't know if there's four teams in the conference that deserve a bye. Honestly, I mean, unless you're ranked in the top 10. I just don't see that. I mean, it's just, I like the SEC, but also like the fact that some fairness here, and that really tilts it. And I don't know if a conference really, I mean, unless it's exceptional, should have more than 3 teams in the playoff. Honestly,
here's my hunch. Seriously, take the buys away. Just seed them and go to 16 teams, and nobody gets a bye, because you're going to get 16 eventually. Nobody gets a darn bye. You're not adding any weeks because those 4 teams that have been getting byes just don't play. And now they would in the same first round. That makes the most sense to me. And look, if you had 3 teams from one league that were the top 4 seeds, I'm okay with that too, because everybody's still in and playing. And that makes a whole lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I'm almost saying Sankey's bring this up to kind of maybe push everybody toward a 16-team playoff. I mean, this is the next step. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree that the seeding needs to be better. It wasn't really good this year.
No, I don't think that just because you won your league, that makes you a top 4 seed. That was a problem. Having the champion of the league through the championship game getting that bye, and it made for uncompetitive games. And I thought home field advantage was not a thing that was good for competitive, ball games. In the first rounds, even Penn State and Tennessee were terrible. I would love to see the bowls used as part of those playoffs.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. That's something that, honest to God, this is the truth. Probably 25 or 30 years ago, Pete Cordelli and I presented Mike's Live with a playoff plan that involved all the bowls. I think all the bowls should be involved, as many as possible. I mean, you can have 16 bowls involved or 15, and then they have the playoff side that they can be for the championship game. But I think the bowls should be involved. I think it'd be nice to have that many bowls involved. It really would be. And I think it would benefit it'd make it more neutral, and it would benefit the bowls. I'm a big believer in bowls. I always have been. People can kind of scoff at them and say, they're useless. I don't agree with that. I just think having seen firsthand with the Liberty Bowl, and it's tradition. It brings some income into the city, and I think it'd be a good idea. I like to see the bowls involved. I agree with that. It's a good. I agree, Wolo.
Did you guys have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in that mix?
Yeah. And they were, yeah, sure was. I mean, so I just think I like that. I understand the whole home field deal, and it was a novel idea, and I understand maybe for one team or one fan base, it's one less place you have to travel to. The expenses for the fans the playoffs are enormous to get the ball all the way through. But I agree. If you're going to have it neutral, have it neutral all the way through.
I'm 100% certain there would be more competitive balance if you did that. I'm afraid if they do that, though, I'm not sure the AutoZone Liberty Bowl would be included now, because we're going down to 44,000 seats. Now, maybe you could put temporary seats and get it to 50. Maybe that would be enough. And certainly if you were part of the playoff, you probably could afford that, because you're going to sell the darn thing out. I don't know the cost of temporary, but I do wonder if that will complicate things for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl going forward. Let's turn our attention to hoops. Looks like now Auburn and Alabama, both one-loss teams in the SEC, have separated from the pack. Even really good teams like Tennessee and Kentucky now have 5 losses. Is Auburn and Alabama, are they superior to the rest of the league?
I'd say so, but I think Florida has played really well. They're at 8-3. They're kind of right behind. Florida's played really well lately. I think Florida would be your third team. But I think Alabama, Auburn, and two different styles. Auburn's really, balanced inside and out, and Alabama is strictly a lot of threes and how many possessions you can have.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate Oates really bases his offense on Nolan Richardson's theory of how many possessions you get. Nolan really never cared, about shooting percentage. He cared if I got a ton more possessions than you, it means I get more shots, I should win. And I think that's Alabama's philosophy. So it's an interesting contrast of philosophies that we'll see this Saturday when number one plays number two, depending on who's number one and number two in the polls. They both flop.
Right.
But this will be a great game. And again, the rematch of this game is in the final regular season game of the year. So before the SEC tournament. So this is the first of the two.
I was really surprised. I saw this graphic. The last time I think there was a 1 versus a 2, I know for sure in the state of Tennessee, was when Memphis played Auburn and Bruce Pearl played Tennessee, 2008.
Yeah.
When Bruce Pearl was the coach at Tennessee. Now you get the first time, I think I saw this right. It's the first time that a 1 versus a 2 has ever played each other in the SEC. That's hard to believe, but I think that was right.
Yeah, that's probably right, because when you think about it, it's been very rare when you have two really, really good teams in the SEC. And then back in the 90s, we had Arkansas and Kentucky. But before that, I mean, Alabama really never got to number one when they were pretty good, and then when Kentucky was good. Kentucky always kind of been the baseline, and then you kind of add another team on there. Who's the other team that's really good in the league besides Kentucky for years? And, for a while, it was Tennessee under Ray Mears, and then it kind of morphed into Alabama under Wimp, and then it became Arkansas under Nolan. And so, but now you got all these teams and a ton of good teams, and I can buy that fact. I can believe that. Yeah.
Since you compared Nate Oates to Nolan Richardson, I would say here's the difference. Offensively, I agree with you. Defensively, though, Nolan Richardson's teams played much better defense than Nate Oates' teams.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had the 40 minutes of hell, you had the pressing, and that created the offense. And then, and plus, back then there's still you didn't shoot a lot of threes. You shot a decent amount. Now the game is tilted so much toward the three-pointer that it's kind of maddening when you see somebody drive all the way to the basket and they're 2 feet from the basket, and you got a layup and they throw it out to that wing to somebody who's supposedly open and they miss a shot. It's kind of crazy, but it's what's basically it's the European game that was brought to the NBA. The NBA brought to college. It's kind of spread.
I even saw Tom Izzo's Michigan State team do the same darn thing in Maui, where they would pass up 3 or 4 foot good looks to try to get an open three where the guy was wide open, but you're going, really? You're turning down like an 80% chance shot for a 40% chance shot? That's crazy stuff, but that is the way it is. What's happened to Mississippi State? When they played Memphis, they were better than Ole Miss, in my mind. I saw them both back-to-back. I don't understand what's happened to Chris Jane's teams, who looks like he is in pain every game.
Yeah, I mean, since they beat Ole Miss, they've kind of gone down the drain. Lost to Alabama, lost to Missouri. I mean, Florida. I mean, I don't understand either. The first time they played Ole Miss, you thought, man, they're right there with Ole Miss, and they beat Ole Miss. They got Ole Miss again sooner or later. I don't understand that. I mean, because in my eyes, I mean, right now I think there's 8 teams that belong in the SEC tournament, in the NCAA tournament from the SEC: Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Missouri, A&M, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And then it gets hazy. I think the teams that are out are Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, probably Arkansas, Texas. Texas hasn't beat anybody, and Georgia. So that kind of leaves Mississippi State and Vanderbilt right there as a ninth team.
Well, they're saying 13 are going to get in. If they did that, I did the math. There are 8 teams that you just mentioned that are clearly locks to make the NCAA tournament. There's 5 teams that they say are already going to make it because they say 13 from the SEC. 5 of those teams are under 500 in their league. I think that, I don't know if 500 should be the absolute, but it's got to be close to 500 to get into the NCAA, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I would definitely think so. I mean, you're not close to 500 when you're, Arkansas is 4-7. I mean,
right?
Does that get you in? I mean, I just don't believe there's 13 teams in the SEC that are worth going to the NCAA tournament. This stuff, plus, you got a few weeks left, and a lot of these teams got to play each other. So, I mean, there's a lot of, some of these teams have a tough road down the stretch that play a bunch of ranked teams that are good teams in a row. I mean, Vanderbilt has a killer schedule. I mean, Auburn, Alabama's schedule down the stretch isn't easy. So, I think this stuff will work itself out. I think 13 will get drastically reduced. I really do. I mean, I just think once these last few games are played, last couple of weeks, everybody's kind of knocking each other off. I do think it'll be reduced. And honestly, I can't see them getting more than 9. Honestly, 10 would be a little bit of a stretch. 13 is no way.
11 is the record the Big East got, I think, in 2011 or 16, one of those two. Last thing, because we only got a minute. You mentioned the Commodores. Is Vanderbilt the surprise team of the year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think they almost beat Kentucky and Tennessee back to back. I mean, that's they opened the SEC play here in Baton Rouge and beat LSU. And you could see how well coached they were. How no matter the situation in the game or the game clock or whatever it was, they really ran their stuff. They're very disciplined and very well coached, and I was really impressed with them. If the SEC had any guts, that's their coach of the year because he took a team and a program that Stackhouse never could get going, and has done a really, really good job with it. Yeah, I'd say Vandy's my surprise team of the year. Absolutely.
I agree with you. As always, my friend, I thank you. I appreciate your coming on with us all the time, and I wish you the very best with that double hip operation on Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Hopefully, the painkillers are off by next Thursday. I can do your show. So there you go.
I hope so too. I will check in with you. I promise. I know you are.
You got to play
You're
hurt.
Tough.
You got to play hurt.
There you go.
All right.
That's our guy, our historian down in Baton Rouge. That is Ron Higgins, and he's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Well, Ron's been around for a long time, writing about the SEC, participating with the SEC. Ken Garland's got almost 80 years now, 3 generations of Garlands, 2 Kens, and now William in the business. They see the little details and the big picture all at once. They will provide you the latest in building new homes that are palaces, or they can take your older home and renovate it with innovation and make it something that it is not right now. So you can stay because you love your lot, you love your location, but you want the modern amenities. And know this about Ken Garland. The job's never really done. It could be 6 months after you've completed all the tasks. You're living there and something is not quite right. He's back and he's checking it out. It's always a working project with Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. If you're dreaming about that new perfect home, this is the guy that will make sure it's perfect. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We head downtown. We talk to our Hall of Famer. That would be Jarvis Greer. He's right around the corner.
Add a little fun to your best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls in Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99. And margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand.
Oh, yeah, we're piloting it around for sure. We're going from Tampa down to downtown Memphis. Mud Island special Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer. I don't know, Jarvo, if you're still an ambassador for the UFL or not, but I did read when there was a story in the Daily Memphian pertaining to the showboats and teams not coming to live in the town they're going to play in. They're going to all be in Arlington, Texas. And then each team goes to the games like together. No real roots in the community. You had said how that was the way the league could survive. I don't think the league can sustain itself that way, unless it just wants TV ratings. Maybe that's the case. But you don't get any community. You're not going to get fans in the stands. I don't know that you're going to get fans to care to watch TV if they're not in your community. So I'm going to take the other side to what you said about that in the Daily Memphian. Good morning. And do you think they'll ever move to Memphis if they keep this thing going?
Well, that's the plan. First of all, let me say good luck to Ron Higgins. Man, that's tough. Double hip surgery.
Oh,
wow.
Can you believe that?
No, man. I've had an ACL and I've had a meniscus on different knees, but doing them both at the same time, both hips, I mean, that's your core. Core strength, that's what he's going for. So
yeah.
Good luck. But, this is about survival as a league. We went out a couple of years ago. Actually, it was when they asked me to be an ambassador for the team. They had one, media person in each city, a local person in each city to try to help welcome or reintroduce, the USFL at that time to its market. And we went out to L.A. for a different reason. We were on a Grizz trip, and Eric Shanks, who's the head of Fox Sports, asked us to come over. Hey, since you're in town, come on over. We'll pick you up, and you can tour the facility and all that. That's where they do their game day show, and Fox
right.
NFL Sunday and all that. And you talk about a heck of an operation. Oh my goodness! And it's in the
That's
right in
the
Hollywood.
show, by the way, with Terry Bradshaw. It's 31 years old. Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, they're all big St. Jude supporters, by the way. And Fox Sports is a separate entity from Fox News. So I wouldn't have done it if they. I'm just going to say that right off. I wouldn't have done it if it was, but it's a separate entity. But Eric Shanks, invited us in, and we went in this big office and all that. He's a young dude, and he said that look. This is all about, yes, TV wants programming, but we want this league to last. And for sustainability, they have a business model. You remember the first year, they were all they had the hub thing where they had two teams in each city.
Yeah,
like Memphis and Houston were paired.
Had Houston, right.
Yeah, were paired the first time out, and that really sucked for the second team. It was. They had no fans whatsoever, basically, other than, friends and family coming to those games at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium and mostly around the rest of the league. The first team, the home, quote-unquote, home team got fans. And then they decided, well, okay, the ratings were good enough. They're coming back. And then they decided, well, okay, now let's try this model where we'll house all the teams in one market or in one place. That's in Arlington. It's Dallas, basically. They're all the players are housed there. They have their own practice times, and they practice together as teams. And then when they play the games, the home and the visitors team take the same charter, so they save money doing that. So they fly in together, they fly out together. All their medical facilities and all of that stuff is in one spot. And that's to make sure that they got viability going forward. The TV part, as far as getting the ratings, are looking pretty good. Everybody likes football, even spring football, and that's what they're banking on. But they do, in the long run, want to get each team in its own home market. But they got to prove that they can make the money first, and that that it can last. That it's going to have enough eyeballs on it to make it last. So which do you want? You want chicken or egg?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's the chicken and egg thing, and I'm going to take the opposite tact on this. You talk Fox philosophy. I'm going to talk Roone Arledge, who, I think was the biggest innovator in sports television.
He's the best all time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he had a philosophy which was up close and personal.
Yeah.
In order for you to care and care enough to watch games on TV or to go to the stadium, you've got to know the guys. There's no way in the world. Those players are in Memphis 5 times for games. They're never in the community. They just go and play the game and then get on the airplane with the other team and go home. No way you get to know these guys. You can try all you want to, but if they don't live here, you can't watch practices where all the local affiliates are taking video and doing interviews with players and features on players. I just don't see how that is sustainable, that we'll ever get to the point where they bring the teams into each market. It'll be interesting to watch. I want it to succeed. I'm glad we got spring football. It's something else to cover. It's something else to talk about. But I just don't see it as really being a winner until they move into the markets.
Yeah, it is a tough call, but you got to have the money to make it work in the first place. And like I said, it was basically started out as a TV league. I mean, they made no bones about that. But they got to, if they don't get the ratings, they won't be here anyway. Nobody will have a team. The league will go defunct. And so that's the business model that they started out with. And like I said, they did finally move to where, okay, Memphis is a standalone, Houston is a standalone. The other teams in the league, they all have their same. And Detroit now, they're playing in Ford Field, and several of these places are doubling up with a couple of NFL facilities, but most of them have their own. DC is playing at RFK, I think, and it's a tough thing to not be in the market that you're in, other than you wear the home jersey. But there is a connection. They're trying to get out as much as they can. The coaches and some of the players come early, so they can try to do some events and things like that. But they got to have the money in the bank first before they put each team in its own market, and then separately after that. Fox basically owns the league. Fox Sports owns the league and owns each team, is what I'm saying. They eventually want to get to the point where they have owners, individual owners in each city. And to do that, they got to bank up some money, and that's what they're trying to do. And they're giving players an opportunity to earn their way to the NFL or earn their way back to the NFL. I know the Showboat signed a couple of former Memphis Tigers, and Joseph Skates and Jalen Allen, the former defensive end.
I'm looking forward to seeing both those guys play, really.
Yeah, I think they'll make the roster. I mean, everybody's got to make training camp. They go to camp in a couple of weeks here, and March 1st, I think. And then the first games for everybody March 30th. So it'll be interesting to see, and also winning helps. You know what I mean? Because that team last year, you would have thought on paper would have been really, really good. Because they merged with, the Showboats were 5-5, and they merged with a Houston team. They merged with New Orleans, old New Orleans Breakers. Who are no longer
the Breakers, right?
Yeah, they merged with them, and they were like 7 they won 7 games. So you would have thought, take the best players from both teams. You got a good squad, but they won the first game against a terrible Houston team, and they won the last game against the terrible Houston team. And that was, and so it was kind of hard to. You got to win to really get some people's eyeballs in the home markets to get that attention. And then they
2-8's not very good.
I give Ken. Those games were over in the first quarter. So if you're competitive, you'll have a chance.
I give Ken Wisenhunt a lot of credit for coming. Now he's been in Memphis a couple of times promoting the team, but you know what? So who was the guy last year that was the coach? He was a former NFL guy too. No, that was the GM.
No, Filippo was the coach. He was the head coach.
Oh yeah. You're right. Filippo.
It was tough for him. Yeah, it was tough for him. I think his dad died right before the season, and it was it was tough for him. But I know
once the season began. Yeah, but once the season began, there was really very little interaction with him. He's busy with the team and all that other stuff. I hope Wisenhunt is a little bit more available than DiFilippo was. All right, let me move to the Grizz All-Star break. That's your other hat with Grind City. And tell me what you think this rotation is going to look like after the All-Star break, last 28 games when everybody's healthy.
I think they're about done with the experimentation. Fortunately, Vince Williams came back, a couple of games before the All-Star break. We get to see him. Gigi Jackson got healthy. And so now you started to see the rotation change up a little bit where the starters are getting a few more minutes. And your second group has got Vince and Gigi coming in and Aldama, along with Brandon Clark and Scottie Pippen. I think Scottie may move back ahead of your 3-point shooter. I think just Luke Kennard has been running the second. Yeah. To say, but I think Scottie may move back into that role as your second point guard, and Luke, point guard of emergency, but he'll be more of a wing player. And I think that's the way it's going to go. I think they gassed up the Jet at halftime last night for the All-Star break, and I mean it was easy to see that was their focus was gone because that having a red hot first quarter like they did, where I think they led 39-28, and after one, and the Grizzlies, by the way, are the number one first quarter scoring team in the league, and they lead a lot of things. They are the overall number one in scoring in the whole entire league. But after that,
they scored 39 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, after that they started, they started turning it over. They got a little sloppy, and then they said, I'm headed to Cancun or wherever they're going,
right.
Turks and Caicos or wherever they're headed. But I think their rotation, they'll be down. I heard you had Pete Pranica on a little bit earlier, and I agree. They'll be 10 or 11. They're still going to play two squads. I mean, they're still going to play a lot of people, and it has really served them well so far. And I agree. They gave, Vince is on a minutes restriction, and just take some extra time. We know what you can do, and they have a Denver. You got to look over your shoulder at them for the third spot, for the second spot. The Grizzlies though are in second.
Yeah, watch out for Denver. Yeah, no doubt about it. My friend, as always, I appreciate you. We'll talk again next Thursday. We got to get out of here. Make way for John Harden.
Did you have an update on the point guard for Memphis? Is he going to play?
Tyrese Hunter, trending up for tonight. Trending up. How's that?
Well, good. Very good. Very good.
That's the last word from.
Keep winning.
Yeah. That's the last word from Tampa and from downtown. As we say, Johnny's right around the corner. Thank you to Brian Takis for all of his help. I'll talk to you. I'm taking tomorrow off because I'm not getting home till 3 in the morning. But I'll talk to you guys on Monday.